For decades, we've been taught to think of personality disorders as separate conditions: narcissistic, borderline, paranoid, histrionic, antisocial. 10 different disorders, 10 different boxes. But what if those boxes were never the best way to understand people in the first place? The World Health Organization thought it was time to ask that question. For decades, North American mental health professionals have relied on a book called the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders, better known as the DSM. But outside the United States, the rest of the world uses a different system published by the World Health Organization. It's called the International Classification of Diseases, or ICD-11. When it recently released the 11th edition of its International Classification of Diseases, it fundamentally changed how personality disorders are diagnosed. Not because personality disorders disappeared, but because decades of research show that people rarely fit neatly into one category. Think about the people you've known. Have you ever met someone who fit perfectly into a single label? Or did they seem to carry pieces of several different patterns at once? That question became impossible for researchers to ignore. Under the older model, clinicians first tried to answer one question: which personality disorder does this person have? But that often creates problems. Many people qualified for several diagnoses at the same time. Others almost fit one diagnosis, but not quite. Real people simply refuse to stay inside the lines. So ICD-11 changed the question. Instead of asking which box fits, it asks, how impaired is this person's personality functioning? Severity comes first. Is the disturbance mild, moderate, or severe? Once the severity is understood, the diagnosis becomes more descriptive. Instead of assigning a single label, clinicians describe the person's overall pattern of personality traits. The goal isn't to force someone into one category. The goal is to describe the person more accurately. ICD-11 uses 5 major personality trait domains: negative affectivity, detachment, dissociality, disinhibition, anankastia. No single trait tells the whole story. It's the combination that creates the pattern. An important clarification: the DSM-5-TR, the diagnostic manual used most often in the United States, still includes the traditional personality disorder categories. ICD-11 and DSM-5-TR are different diagnostic systems. They are not identical. Another misconception: some people heard about ICD-11 and concluded that personality disorders had been eliminated. They have not. They are still very real. What changed was the way clinicians described them. This reflects something many of us already know from life. Human beings are complicated. Few people fit perfectly inside simple categories. Most of us are a mixture of strengths, wounds, adaptations, and personality traits. Science is only beginning to acknowledge that complexity. Understanding personality patterns is not the same thing as excusing harmful behavior. A more accurate diagnosis does not erase accountability. Explaining behavior and excusing behavior are two very different things. The purpose of science is not to protect our assumptions. It is to challenge them. As evidence grows, good science changes. Sometimes that means changing the labels we've used for decades, because people have always been more complicated than the boxes we built for them.